The silence is the worst part. It is a heavy, listening silence that follows the screams. Biora stands over the two new burial mounds, his knuckles white on the haft of his heavy thrusting spear. It is a formidable weapon, a point of fire hardened tipped with a shard of flint, a pinnacle of their primitive technology. It is also useless. It is a tool for facing a charging beast, a creature of brute force. It is not made for the whispering death. They call them the Grey Stalkers, but the elders, who remember a time of fewer shadows, know their true name Utahraptor. They are not the largest of the world's threats, but they are the sharpest. A pack of them moves through the tall grass not with a roar, but with a sound like wind over dry leaves, a collective hiss that is everywhere and nowhere at once. They are a thinking plague, a feathered nightmare of coordinated death. The hunt was meant to be simple. A lone perze urilo phus, old and slow, separated from its herd, but the raptors were watching. They always are. They always are. They did not contest the kill. They waited. They let boars hunters grow tired from the butchering, their arms slick with blood, their senses dulled by success. Then the whispers began. The attack was not a charge, it was a dissection. One raptor feigned head from the left, drawing the hunters' heavy spears. As they turned, it was over in heartbeats. The prize was lost. Two more of the clan's best men were gone, their bodies opened by the terrible, sickle-like claws that gave the beasts their power. This is the brutal reality of their prehistoric life. They are not the hunters. They are the scavengers picking at the scraps left by true predators. This is why the sight of Kale makes Boa's jaw clench until it aches. While the clan mourns, Kale works. He is separate, tucked into an alcove near the cave mouth, surrounded by what the clan calls Kale's folly, a small forest of failed spears. They are not like the hunter's thick, intimidating lances. They are slender, almost delicate, carved from willow, ash, and yew. He is not sharpening points or binding stone. He is balancing. He holds a long, straight shaft on a single finger, his eyes narrowed, watching the subtle dip and sway. He mutters to himself, running a hand over the smooth wood as if listening to it. To the rest of the clan, it is madness. He is a craftsman wasting his skill on toys while they starve. His obsession with flight and balance is the talk of a man whose spirit has been broken by fear. Their current osteoid, ontocratic technology, heavy clubs from femurs, knives from teeth is proven. Less work is a go. The graves are filled, Biora says, his voice flat and hard. He steps into the alcove, the scent of Kale's wood shavings sharp in the damp air. Kale doesn't look up. He is squinting down the length of a new shaft, turning it slowly. The wood was warped. The grain fought itself. Two more men are gone, Biora presses, stepping over a pile of discarded prototypes. Their sons have no fathers. Their women keen in the dark, and you are playing with sticks. Finally, Kale looks at him. His eyes are wild, filled with a feverish light that Biora does not understand. They are not sticks, Kale says, his voice a low rasp. They are the answer. A heavy spear is an anchor. You have to get close. Too close. But what if your claw could strike from 30 paces away? What if your two fly faster than they can run? He picks up the shaft, his grip reverent. This will be the one. The balance is almost right. Biora sees only a madman, another mouth to feed, another soul lost not to a raptor's claw, but to the slow decay of hope. The hard choice settles in his gut. The clan is weak. It cannot afford passengers. One moon, Kale. Biora says, the words tasting like stone. You have one moon to make your flying tooth work. Then you will carry a man's spear on the hunt, or you will carry nothing at all. The moon does not wax. It bleeds. Thirst becomes the new predator, a silent stalker inside the cave. The Utahraptors, with a terrifying grasp of strategy that feels almost human, have laid siege. They do not attack the clan's rock shelter, a defensible choke point, but they control the land around it. They control the path to the river. Every attempt to fetch water becomes a blood-soaked gamble. A young woman, frantic to soothe her crying child, made a desperate run 2 nights ago. They found only her water skin torn and discarded. its contents staining the dust dark red. The raptors are not just hunting, they are strangling. This is a new kind of warfare, a battle of attrition these early humans are losing. Boa watches his people weaken. The children's cries are thin and raspy. The elders sit with sunken eyes, their stories of the great hunts now sounding like fables from another world. The failure of his leadership is a poison in his throat. He gathers the remaining hunters, their faces grin. "We go together," he announces, his voice hoarse, "at dawn. We form a wall of spears and we break through to the water. Some of us will not return, but the clan will drink." It is a death sentence spoken as a plan, a final, desperate charge against an enemy that cannot be fought with charges. They all know it. The heavy thrusting spears are useless until the enemy is already upon you, its claws already tasting your life. As the men prepare, checking the flint tips and testing the weight of their doomed weapons, Kale emerges from his alcove. He looks even more gaunt than the others, his eyes burning with an intensity that borders on madness. But it is a focused fire now. He carries not one, but 6 of his slender spears, each one a masterpiece of balance and lethal grace. In his other hand is a new device. An atlatl. He walks directly to Boa, ignoring the hostile stares. "Your wall will break," Kale says, his voice quiet but clear. "You will die for a few mouthfuls of water. Let me show you another way." He leads them to the wide ledge before the cave mouth, a space that has become their prison. 50 paces away, a scavenged ribcage of some long-dead herbivore lies bleaching in the sun. The hunters watch, their expressions a mixture of pity and contempt. This is the moment Boa promised, the end of the folly. Kale places the butt of a spear into the spur of the throwing board. He does not draw in board. He does not draw his arm back like a man throwing a rock. Instead, he holds the atlatl high, his body coiling like a spring, for a heartbeat man would, and stoner one. Then he whips his arm forward. The sound is not a grunt of effort, but a sharp, explosive crack, like lightning striking a dry tree. The spear does not arc, it flies. It leaves his hand a blur, a straight, vicious line of death that covers the 50 paces in the time it takes to draw breath. It strikes the ribcage not with a thud, but with a violent thwack that echoes off the cliffs. The slender shaft punches clean through a thick rib, its flint head burying itself deep in the hard-packed earth on the other side. A profound silence falls over the hunters. They stare at the quivering shaft, then at Kale, then back at the impossible result. He has not just thrown a stick. He has unleashed a thumb, the perfect transfer of energy, the true center of percussion. In that one, stunning moment, the entire calculus of their existence changes. Their world, once defined by the reach of their arms, has just expanded by 50 paces. Dawn breaks, painting the sky the color of a fresh wound. But the mood is not one of grim sacrifice. It is cold, sharp, and laced with a terrifying new hope. Boa does not form a wall of spears. He creates a phalanx of silent killers. 6 of his best hunters, including himself, now hold Kale's sky stingers and the strange, powerful throwing boards. Kale is with them, not as a craftsman, but as a teacher, his hushed voice explaining the geometry of death. "Do not aim for the body," he whispers, his hands shaping the air. "Their hide is thick. Aim for the neck, the soft belly, the eye. Do not throw together. Throw in waves. One strikes to follow as it turns." This is not a hunt, it is an execution. It is the birth of tactics, a concept as revolutionary as the spears themselves. The approach to the river is a gauntlet of dread. The tall grasses, once a death trap, are now their hunting ground. 2 raptors are visible, patrolling the riverbank with the arrogancies of apex predators. They are sleek, powerful, their sickle claws held just off the ground. A year ago, these dinosaurs represented in absolute power, an insurmountable barrier between the clan and life itself. Now, they look vulnerable. Boa signals the halt. The hunters melt into the vegetation, their movements slow, deliberate. They are no longer the brawling Homo erectus of their ancestors, they are becoming the thinking predators, the Homo sapiens who will inherit this brutal prehistoric world. The first spear is Boar's. He rises from the grass, coils, and unleashes Kale's violent physics. The spear screams across the intervening space and strikes the lead raptor high on the flank. It doesn't kill, but the shock and pain are immense. The beast shrieks a high piercing sound and spins around, biting at the shaft embedded in its flesh. As it turns, presenting its exposed neck, the second and third spears fly. They strike true. One severs the spine, the other punches through the throat. The raptor collapses in a thrashing heap, its death rattle a wet, gurgling sound that is quickly silenced. The second raptor, momentarily stunned by the sudden, silent violence, reacts. But it does not flee. It charges. It is a storm of teeth and claws, a blur of grey feathers and raw fury, closing the distance with terrifying speed. The hunters with the heavy thrusting spears brace themselves for the impact, a familiar, stomach-churning terror gripping them. But before the raptor covers half the distance, Kale's own spear takes it in the chest, a merciless overlapping volley that slams into the creature's side. It goes down, skidding to a halt, just feet from the petrified hunters. The silence that follows is deeper and more profound than any that has come before. They have not just killed the whispering death. They have annihilated it. They have annihilated it. They have met intellect with superior intellect. The path to the water is clear. The clan drinks. They fill every water skin, their movement slow and reverent, as if the river itself is a deity. They carry their fallen foes back to the cave, a quiet procession of victory that feels heavier than any defeat. The meat will feed them, but the bones, the teeth, the claws, these are new osteodontocratic technology, the raw material for even deadlier weapons. Kale stands beside Bor, looking not at the dead raptors, but at the horizon, where a vast, uncharted world of monstrous challenges and impossible odds awaits. Their survival is not guaranteed, but for the first time, it is not impossible. They have faced the whirlwind and learned to reap it. The lesson of these ancient humans is not etched in stone, but in the perfect balance of a flying spear, that the greatest muscle is the mind, and the sharpest claw is an idea. Their struggle is the silent, unwritten preface to the entire story of human evolution, a testament to the fact that even in a world of titans, the future can be forged by a single, brilliant thought. This is the bedrock of the human spirit. To look upon gods and see only flesh, to stare into the abyss and see only a challenge. And in the deepest jungles, something even older stirs its long crocodilian snout testing the wind.